KY3 News on the Ozarks CW starts with breaking news.
Good Sunday morning. I'm Sarah Forhet. Some of you waking up to more heavy rain this morning. Much of our viewing area, though, not getting any rain right now. Nonetheless, Missouri, southern Missouri specifically, under a state of emergency because of the devastating flooding and the continuance of the rain to go up. Despite whether it's falling down or not, the flooding is continuing to rise. We know 2 people have been killed. The latest death happened this morning west of Crocker. That's in Pulaski County. Law enforcement reporting an 18-year-old man drowned. His name has not yet been released. We know he was swept away in his vehicle in flash flooding on Buffalo Road. Also, a woman was killed in Clever yesterday. Many people cannot leave their homes because every road out is covered by high water. Meteorologist Abby Dyer joins us with what is to come today. Abby?
Sarah, we're going to be dealing with high water all day and, in fact, maybe all week in some places. We are still looking at some moderate to heavy rain showers on the radar. Most of that falling in our far eastern counties east of Highway 63 at this point, but not a good place for this to be falling. It all is falling out of the Ozarks or moving to the northeast, and it will eventually end today. We are going to be left over with just the heavy rain, the flooded rains as we head into the rest of the weekend. Here's a look at the picture. This is right now in Springfield. We have low gray cloud cover. Temperatures are in the mid-60s, so temps really aren't bad, but I think they're going to be falling through the afternoon. We'll spend most of the day in the low 60s. Not too comfortable to be outdoors. There's also a south wind out there this morning at 14 miles an hour. Flash flood watch is in effect. That's the green shaded area that you see there until late tonight, close to midnight. Then flash flood warnings are going to dot the radar all along I-44 in areas to the south. This is going to be the area where we see the highest water. There are road closures. There are really dangerous travel conditions all across the region. If you don't have to go somewhere today, don't, especially if you know that you're living in a trouble spot or if you're near an area waterway. Those rivers are going to crest. I think later this afternoon we are talking about record levels of water rising across the Ozarks. So we could see some of those streams in places that they normally don't get. Places that typically don't get flooded are seeing some floodwaters. That's kind of the situation and how things have gone for us this weekend, as rainfall reports have been in the range of 12 to 15 inches of rain in some spots. Here's a look at futurecast. Now, most of the rain showers, at least the moderate to heavy ones, are going to be out of here by mid-morning. I have left some leftover shower activity. It's just going to be kind of a spitting rain as we head into the second part of the day. Rain is going to continue to just be kind of showery in nature for the late evening hours, and then we're kind of in for a raw day on Monday. We'll start the day near 40 degrees and only warm into the low 60s. I'll be back in just a few minutes, Sarah. We're going to talk more about some of the watches and warnings that are in effect, and I'll also run through some of the area lakes that are of highest concern in some places that have already set record levels.
All right, thank you, Abby. A woman was killed in Clever yesterday. Many people not able to get out just simply because of the high water. We want to show you a look at Highway 32 flooding. We got new video just into our KY3 newsroom. This is the Niangua River out of its banks over Highway 32 near Buffalo. Check that out. That was shot at about 6:30 this morning. From a viewer, Chantel Carter sent us this. Thank you for that. If you have any new video from this morning, feel free to send it to us. Also, the MoDOT traveler map shows many of the major highways closed, so do be careful if you are heading out and about. Also new this morning, the northbound ramp at the Highway 6065 interchange is closed. Here's a live look behind us now. This is the tower camera that we have pointed that direction right at the 6065 interchange. You can see some of the orange signs out there. Perhaps it's back open now. It does look like in this live shot right now that perhaps the water has receded just a little bit from Lake Springfield on that interchange, but make sure that you check out the ramp situation before you head out. Again, earlier this morning, James River Freeway West was closed because water was covering the road. Now to this, the Army Corps of Engineers controlling the rapidly rising water levels as fast as it can. The Corps opened 7 floodgates on Beaver Dam in Arkansas overnight. That's the White River. Officials say more spillways could be opened there later today. Release from Table Rock Lake will increase later today. All 10 floodgates are open at Table Rock Dam right now, but more water will be dumped, anywhere between 40 and 60,000 cubic feet per second. Folks in Branson among the hardest hit by this constant wave of rain. You know what the Branson Landing normally looks like. Check out this video of what it looks like now. This was shot yesterday afternoon down at the landing. Extremely high water levels along Lake Taneycomo waterfront. flowing over the sidewalks and the Lake Taneycomo lakeshore there, right by the fountains on the landing. Sections of the parking lot also underwater. If you were heading there today, it is likely that the business you are trying to visit would be closed. You want to give them a call before you do so. All right, not far from the Branson landing is the town of Hollister, also hit hard. KY3's Shayla Patrick is there with the latest from Hollister. Shayla?
Yes, I'm here in the entrance to the Hidden Valley Mobile Home Community. There's a bridge to get into that community, and residents say that yesterday this bridge was completely covered by water. You can actually see the water has gone down, but the impacts of that are still very present today. You can see it washed up a lot of pavement. The water was flowing so fast. This bridge was, again, completely covered. A lot of pavement has popped up. Residents say this area was completely paved and, pretty smooth to get over, and now there's just plenty of potholes and spots where pavement is just not there anymore. It's down to the bare kind of dirt and rocks that were underneath the asphalt. So certainly a very scary situation for many residents here who kind of didn't have a way in or a way out until that water went down. Hollister police say them, along with the fire officials here in this area, did go door knocking to a lot of homes in this community, and they asked people to voluntarily evacuate. They didn't force them, but they just let them know it would be a pretty dangerous situation if they decided to stay, especially if they live in one of the lower areas of the community. Down the road, once you get into the entrance, you can see some more impacts of that flooding from yesterday. There's a lot of debris, tree branches and limbs washed up over the road, even more pavement that has just been washed off because how much water was flowing over the road and how fast it was flowing. Most residents did evacuate, but some living in the higher areas say they've been through flooding before here. They say this area is very prone to flooding, and they kind of knew their limits. So if they lived in a higher area, some of them did elect to stay. Many families returning this morning to see just how bad things got. Some of their homes got a little bit of water on the inside. Some of the skirting off the bottom of people's homes was washed off by how fast the water was flowing. So a lot of people coming back to clean up this morning and wondering, are we going to see the same thing tonight? Officials say they expect water to be in this area at least 4 more feet into the rest of the day and overnight today. So while we are getting a break from the rain right now, there is more to come, and residents are completely kind of on high alert as they take advantage of this break for the rain and brace for more. Live in Hollister, Shayla Patrick, KY3 News.
All right, thank you, Shayla. And all that rain and evacuations means people looking for a place to stay. Folks at the Branson United Methodist Church are taking people in right now. They are offering food and shelter and other services there as well. If you need help, that church is located on West 76 Country Boulevard in Branson. Several other shelters also opening up. They include the old Reed Spring Middle School, Monette's United Methodist Church, and the Winona Senior Center. You're asked to bring a few days' supply of clothing, medication, and other personal necessities. All right, now to West Plains, a critical situation unfolding there. Officials say there is no timetable for when power will be restored after it had to be shut off because of all the water. All substations we know are down this morning because of the extreme flooding. Any lights you see on were before that all power off sign went out. So until the water recedes, it is a dangerous situation. We know KY3's Brandon Beck is there in West Plains. He had to stay last night because he could not get out of the town. We're also told the sheriff says this morning, an update as of about 7:30 this morning, you still cannot really get out of West Plains because the highways out are still covered. At least 7 people across the Midwest have been killed in this weekend's powerful storms. That includes a 72-year-old woman near Clever. Madeline Kruger of Billings was found yesterday in a field after her car was swept into the floodwaters. Mrs. Kruger's husband tried but could not pull her out of the moving water before the car went under. He survived. We also know 5 people died in Texas after several tornadoes broke out near Dallas. All right, flash flood warnings remain in effect this morning. As Abby told us, even though the rain is off in some places, the water levels continue to rise. They will crest later today. Flooding fears all over the Ozarks. There's a live look right now at the KY3 tower camera here in Springfield. Abby will detail how much more is expected to come and then when we will finally start to recede. Stay with us.
Number 1 in the Ozarks. You're watching KY3 Ozarks Today, Weekend Edition on the Ozarks CW with Sarah Voorhees and Storm Team meteorologist Liz McGiffin. The place to be, on air, online, on the go.
All right, check out this aerial video. This is over Lake Springfield in South Springfield, just at Highway 65. This was shot yesterday while it was still daylight outside, 417 drone imaging. As you can see, the water is well over its banks, covering the parking lot for the canoeists and kayakers there at the bottom and flowing onto the outer fringes of the Missouri Veterans Cemetery. Earlier this morning, also covering one of the ramps there at the 60-65 interchange. And now that specific area, Abby, has started to recede a little bit, but that is definitely not the case everywhere.
It's not, no. Depending on if you have heavy rain this morning, we have a lot of rivers and streams that are still cresting, some places still going up, and they're going to go up big time in a lot of places. We've already hit some records across the Ozarks.
Devastating.
It really is, yes. We had daily record rainfalls for yesterday, and now we're starting to, I was monitoring some of the river gauges, new records over near Tecumseh. We have a record on the Bryant Creek there and also on the North Fork. So I'll have some of those numbers for you in just a minute. Here's a look at the loop on satellite and radar. You can see most of these showers moving north out of the area. Temperatures are going to stay nice and mild, at least this morning. We're in the mid-60s, but I have a heavy rain in the forecast, for, at least for our eastern counties east of Highway 63. Everybody else, we're starting to see this heavy rain wind down, and we really need that to happen. In fact, we could have used that at this time yesterday. Here's a look at the just light showery activity as you head into the Springfield area, but it gets a little bit heavier as you move down into our southeastern counties. We have some moderate showers near Horseshoe Bend, and you're going to run into some of that rain as you're heading up into our Missouri counties. West Plains, Howell counties still seeing some of the heaviest rain on the radar. They need a break down there. The water is high, the roads are flooded, and a lot of folks just can't get out. That's going to be the case for maybe a couple of days there. Here's a look at the moderate rain showers as we head over into the far eastern counties up north of the Highway 137 corridor. We have a lot of rain falling in Texas County back up through Highway 63. Heavy rain now falling on I-44, so you're going to run into that if you're heading towards St. Louis. Keep in mind there will be delays today. There will likely be some detours because look at all this rain. 48 hours of rainfall amounted to this, and we're going to have to watch these areas too because this is where we currently have our showers. We're going to see those totals go up. I've heard reports 12, maybe 15 inches of rain. Those were coming to us out of Kabul. Near the Table Rock Lake area around Riverdale, we've heard reports of 9 inches of rainfall. Reports from Fordland, over 9 inches of rainfall here at KY3 on West Sunshine Street. We had 7.2 so far. That's since the storm began on Friday evening. So a lot of rain in a very short period of time, not leading to very good conditions across the area. It's 64 right now. As I mentioned, though, we are going to see that temperature drop through much of the afternoon. I have a south wind in the forecast at 14 miles an hour. Here's a look at the flash flood watches and warnings. Watch out almost everywhere, and that goes until midnight tonight, and then we're going to hold on to those warnings through this afternoon. There's going to be high water all over the place, not just today, and it could get worse in a lot of spots today before we start to see conditions improve and get a little bit better. So just be aware of that. I know it's not fun to be kind of holed up, can't go anywhere, but in some cases, that's just how it's going to be for the next couple of days. Do not attempt to go through roads with barricades or that have high water on them. We've already had some major issues across the Ozarks. We will see a little bit of dry time today. I think just showery activities in the forecast for the rest of the afternoon. I mentioned that some of those rivers are going to be cresting today, and we've already had some records. There will be road closures. There will be detours, delays, damage from floodwater. Shayla showed us a little bit of that down in Hollister, and we're going to see the erosion kind of take its course on some places that we don't exactly know what the damage is yet because everything is covered in floodwaters. We could have structural damage. I think a lot of folks are going to be kind of getting water out of the basement over the next few days. Stay informed, stay up to date, and please stay informed about those lake and river levels. Here's a look at Futurecast now. Temperatures, they're going to be back into the low 60s through much of the afternoon. Tonight, we fall to the low 40s. It's going to be cold. It's going to be damp. We could have some fog develop with all the moisture that's going to be around on the ground. Here's a look at Futurecast tomorrow afternoon. We don't really move a whole lot. I think highs could be in the 50s in some spots. So I mentioned that a few of our rivers are near record territory, and in fact, we hit some of those records late last night. This first one that I want to show you, this is actually the North Fork at Tecumseh. I mentioned that one. So late last night, the gauge, the reading was 31.51 feet. The record, 31. So we beat the record, and that river still increasing. The forecast is to peak just close to 33 before it comes down, and that peak or the crest should happen later this afternoon. As we look at rainfall reports, I'd love to hear how much you had in your backyard. If you want to send me a Facebook message, you're welcome to do that. You can tweet me, or you can just email me at adyer@ky3.com. I'll be collecting a list of these rainfall totals, and we'll see who got the most. Today, temperatures are going to be in the low 60s through the afternoon, even though highs will officially be in the mid 60s. Tonight, kind of cold, back to 40 degrees. We have a couple of dry days in the forecast, Sarah. We desperately need that at this point. More rain in the forecast on Wednesday, but at first check, it doesn't look like we'll see too much rain on Wednesday.
All right, looking forward to those dry days. Thank you, Abby. When we come back, we'll hear from KY3 meteorologist Brandon Beck on the latest from West Plains. Stay with us. A mess in West Plains this morning. Many road closures from the high water there. KY3 meteorologist Brandon Beck spent the night in West Plains because all the roads to get out were closed. And Brandon, not much has changed, I suppose, huh?
No, not really. I still can't get out of town. Highway 63 going north is underwater, just north of the 14 junction. And a sheriff's deputy this morning told me that last time that flooded, it's just a giant hole. MoDOT had to bring in big pumps to get rid of the water to open the highway. So we'll see how that plays out, because it is still pouring rain here. And thankfully, it looks like on radar that's going to change here shortly. But the flooding last night was just incredible. And from talking to some of the locals here, they say it's the worst they've ever seen it. The worst I saw, there were many areas in town that I can't list them all, but right around Porter Wagner Boulevard, that's kind of the main drag through town. And not only were a couple of car dealerships with all of their cars pretty much submerged, but right to the north of that is the West Plains City Hall, and that would have had a couple of feet of water in it as well. Driving through there this morning, you can see the debris line on cars, and there's portable buildings resting on top of cars. There are overturned cars, and there were homes in town that had water in them too. And so I can imagine that people waking up this morning, seeing it raining, are just going, oh, good grief, what gives already? But the rain is lighter than it was, and the floodwaters in town itself have receded.
Man, yeah, Brandon, Abby was talking earlier about some records in that area still set, still coming down heavily. You'll be happy to know that I guess half of our viewing area right now is not having rain right now. But I guess, as you know, I mean, the water can still rise even once the rain stops.
Well, that's the thing. You know, it usually starts with the small creeks and streams, and then it gets into the rivers. I can tell you, I was just looking, the James River down at Boaz has broken a record set back in 2008. That was a big flood event for us. Also, it broke the record set there in 2015. The James River down at Galena forecast to hit the record that it did back in 2015. And so all of this water, in especially the main rivers, are still coming up. And I want to tell this to people again. It's a thing that we say time after time after time, and here again we've had fatalities because of people driving into floodwaters. Just don't do it, because there are going to be a lot of spots, even that don't normally flood, that are going to be flooded today.
Yeah, hence the reason you are still in West Plains right now. So good job not taking the risk. Brandon, we're looking at your video from last night, and we are seeing it's either a septic tank or a propane tank. I assume propane, just floating down the middle of the road there.
Yeah, there were several propane tanks. One of them came to rest last night in the middle of Porter Wagner Boulevard. The fire department was there trying to take care of that because it was leaking propane. And you could smell it in the air in several spots in town because those floodwaters just detaching them from the lines. And it was just amazing, some of the stuff that you saw floating around. Back on Highway 63, the floodwaters came across and took several large bundles of construction lumber and brought them out onto the highway, along with some roofing trusses. It was just amazing to watch how that worked.
Wow. And Hammond Bridge, are you familiar with Hammond Bridge, Brandon?
No, viewers told me about it, but I don't know where that is.
Okay, so it is underwater, we understand, right? It is gone.
Wow. Yeah, I know west of here on Highway 14, you get into Douglas County. The Norfolk River crosses there to twin bridges, and those are underwater as well. So essentially, if you want to get north or west of West Plains, there really isn't a way to do that, at least not for very far.
Okay, well, be careful, Brandon. Thank you for your time this morning. Hopefully, we will see you back here tomorrow morning. Otherwise, we will see Brandon Beck once again reporting live from West Plains. He's going to set up a West Plains bureau for us.
There you go. All righty.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Okay, stay with us. Abby will be back next with some more totals for you. Also, when we might see some crest later today as we look live right now at Table Rock Dam down in Branson. All the floodgates are open.
And now, your KY3 Storm Team forecast.
Good morning. It is 8:26. We are looking at low gray clouds all across the Ozarks. This is kind of the picture here in Springfield. We have some light spitting showers, but our thunderstorm activity is done. We had our last round of strong thunderstorms roll through early this morning, and now we are going to start the drying process, but it's going to take a long time, and we are in for kind of a damp, soggy day in the Ozarks with high water all over the place. Temperatures this morning really not bad in the mid-60s, but we'll be falling through the afternoon. A south wind in the forecast right now. It's at 17 miles an hour. There are flash flood warnings all over the place along and south of I-44 in our Missouri counties. That's the red shaded area that you see here. A flash flood watch is still out until midnight at the rest of our counties that you see highlighted in green. Rain is going to be moving out of the Ozarks. We'll be left with some spitting showers for the rest of the day. Dry days are ahead. Sarah, I'll let you know how many of them we can get in the 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
All right. Hopefully a lot, Abby. Thank you so much. When we come back, we'll have another look at flooding from the Branson area. Stay with us. All right, the rain has canceled or postponed many events in the Ozarks this weekend. So go to our KY3 Facebook page, check out the list of cancellations, add your own if you need to do that. This right here is a look at the MoDOT traveler map. I can tell you I've never seen it this covered. All of those little red and white buoys, if you click on one specifically, it will show you what road is closed. So like I'm just going to pick this one. This is James River Creek, Route V in both directions. That's in Webster County. But go check out your typical route. And again, these aren't even the county roads. These are just MoDOT maintained, so state highways, lettered highways, many of them underwater this morning. Be careful if you were headed out and about. All right, we also were hearing from Brandon earlier in West Plains, and we had some incredible video from there. This is also from West Plains. This sent to us from Jimmy Seeley, and you'll see this car driving through floodwaters, which we say over and over, don't do that. Now, fortunately, we now know that the man who was driving that SUV, who's currently spinning out, completely out of control, he is okay. He survived to tell about it, but it can be very dangerous. We've had 2 fatalities because of flooding right here in the Ozarks, so do be careful. We're tracking this situation more when we come back.
KY3 News on the Ozarks CW starts with breaking news.
Good Sunday morning and welcome back. I'm Sarah Forhetz. Flooded roads, homes, businesses, water rescues, and more rain falling in some places. A state of emergency is underway in southern Missouri, declared by Governor Eric Greitens. Meteorologist Abby Dyer joins us with the latest watches and warnings. And Abby, just not letting up out there.
No, it's really not in some of our eastern counties. And those were some of the places that were hardest hit, Sarah. We have a slew of warnings still in effect. All the green outlines here that you see, those are flash flood warnings. It means water is still incredibly high. We're having some problems with high water, and look at this band of rain moving back into Harrison. So some of the places that are already saturated can't take much more. You're going to see yet another wave of rain showers moving into north central Arkansas and then sweeping into our eastern counties. Most of this activity is going to be along and east of Highway 63. The good news for you right now is that there's nothing too severe. We do just have heavy rain, and flash flooding is the biggest concern. High water all across the Ozarks. This is the reason why. An incredible weekend across the Ozarks, record-setting numbers, and we are talking about record-setting river levels as well. We've already broken some records down near Tecumseh, looking at major flood stage as we look at the James River near Springfield. Same story in Galena. We are now getting that up into major flood stage, so seeing the water really close some roads and cause some major problems. Heavy rainfall as you move up into Pulaski County and even north of I-44 as you head into central Missouri. We had widespread rainfall reports. Generally between 6 and 12 inches of rain over the weekend. However, I'm getting a lot of reports this morning, and there are some folks that are saying close to 15, maybe even more than 15 inches of rain. One person in West Plains just emailed that they had 11.15 inches just since Friday night. That is an incredible amount of rainfall. We are now up to over 20 inches of rain for the year here in Springfield. That puts us 8 inches ahead of where we typically are or where we need to be for this time of the year. So the ground is saturated. We can't take much more. The little bit of good news that I have for you in the forecast is that the rain showers will end this afternoon. We're still going to be dealing with high water. That's going to be a problem for a long time, especially in the 7-day forecast this week. Temperatures are going to be in the mid-60s as you wake up this morning at 64 right now in Springfield. We have an east-southeast wind at 21 miles an hour, and those numbers are going to be dropping through the day. Flash flood warnings, all those counties there that you see highlighted in green. Flash flood watch is out until midnight tonight, Sarah. We're going to have to extend a lot of these watches and warnings. All the low water crossings are full. There are major problems across many of our roadways. My message to you today is that travel will be dangerous. Significant flooding will continue. Some of those rivers and waters are going to continue to rise. We'll see the numbers come up. You need to be on high alert if you're going to be out and about today, and that goes for the next couple of days as well.
All right. Thank you, Abby. And we are hearing from a customer there in Howell, Oregon County Electric Co-op saying power has been restored for some of West Plains, about 2,200 people still out. Now to this, just into our newsroom, law enforcement in Pulaski County reporting a death there. An 18-year-old man drowned, drove his car into floodwaters and got swept away. His name has not yet been released. It happened just before 2 o'clock on Buffalo Road, west of Crocker. This is now the second death from the flooding here in the Ozarks. The Army Corps of Engineers is controlling some rapidly rising water levels in the lakes. The Corps opened 7 floodgates on Beaver Dam in Arkansas overnight. That is near Rogers. Officials say more spillways could be open later today. Release from the Table Rock Lake is expected to pick up later today. All 10 floodgates are open at Table Rock Dam. This is a live look at that now. More water, though, will be sent through. The Corps tells us anywhere from 40 to 60,000 cubic feet per second. It was at 20,000 yesterday morning. Branson Mayor Karen Best posted on her Facebook page, just be careful if you live downstream. If you live in those low elevation areas along Taneycomo, have not yet evacuated, you are asked to do so now. Again, the water is still rising even though the rain has stopped in some places. So thanks to our first responders working out in that area. With the floodgates open, the rain still coming down in some parts. Taney County hit very hard. Shayla Patrick is in Hollister with the latest on the situation there. Shayla.
Good morning. I'm here in the Hidden Valley mobile home community near the entrance where water has gone down, but yesterday it was very high. In fact, here's the sign in the entrance to that community, and residents say water was covering most of the sign. Now, I'm 6 feet tall, and they say water at some point was flowing up out of Turkey Creek. As the rain came down, it was flowing very fast, and they say most of the bottom half, at least, of the sign was covered with water. You can see evidence of that. There's just a lot of debris, tree limbs and branches that have been washed over on the grass and into the road as you enter that community. This is the main entrance to that community, and as you can see, as you go further into where the homes are, a lot of debris left behind just because of how high water was at one point, flowing out of Turkey Creek up over the roads. It washed the skirting off the bottom of some people's homes. Air conditioning units have been toppled over. So things look pretty calm right now. And again, we are getting a little bit of a break from the rain. But as you can see, evidence of how it was yesterday. Residents are just taking every precaution, getting out if they can, or if they live in higher areas, staying, but also being on high alert and really watching as we continue to get more rain, and watching for exactly when that will fall today. We've spoken with some residents who say that this certainly isn't the first time that they've seen flooding in this area. It's kind of a flood-prone area. So they kind of know what to do, especially if they've been living here for a long time. As for other places in Hollister, we've heard reports of flooding near the McDonald's. We've heard reports of flooding at the Hollister Police Department. So really just this area been hit hard because of how low-lying some of the parts are. So if you have to live in this area or if you travel through this area, definitely be careful. Keep an eye on the sky and continue to, of course, watch KY3 for updates on what the weather will be as this next round of rain continues to fall. Live in Hollister, Shayla Patrick, KY3 News.
All right, thank you, Shayla. And people who need a place to stay can head over to the United Methodist Church in Branson. A shelter has been set up there. That is at 1208 West 76 Country Boulevard. It's a traumatic time, so they're not only offering food and shelter, but also some other mental health services as well. In addition to the emergency shelters in Branson, several others are set up across the Ozarks. They include the old Reed Spring Middle School, Monette's United Methodist Church, and the Winona Senior Center. You can head to any of those. Remember, bring with you a few days of clothing, supply, medications, and any other personal necessities. The Army Corps of Engineers issued a warning for anyone downstream of Beaver Lake, Table Rock Lake, Bull Shoals, Norfolk, so you can stay up to date on the rising lake levels there and move to higher ground before you are underwater. Head over to our KY3 Facebook page. We are getting multiple pictures and videos from viewers. This is the Hammond Bridge. Abby and I were talking about it earlier with Brandon near Tecumseh. So thank you for this picture. Water just submerging that bridge there in Howell County. All right, here's another live look at Table Rock Dam from Branson. We're back after this with the latest. All right, check out this video from Texas County. This is coming to us from Nicole Spencer via Facebook. This is cabins floating away in the rushing water there yesterday from Boiling Springs Resort, which is near Licking. You can see the people on the shore just watching them go by. No injuries to report, so that is the good news. But we have had 2 fatalities now in our area due to the flooding. So, as Abby has mentioned, turn around, don't drown, and it's still coming up.
It's still coming up, and that's what I don't want people to let their guard down today. Just because maybe the rain stops later this afternoon doesn't mean there's not high water. It's not going to go down right away. There's nowhere for it to go. Right. The ground is just so saturated, so that's going to be a big issue for us.
All right, do be careful out there. And you had some records already.
Yeah, we have some record river levels already. This down near Tecumseh. Wanted to show you this because this one just barely making it to the record. 31.5 feet, I believe. The record, 35 feet. This is the North Fork White River near Tecumseh. This is the area back down to the southeast that is seeing some rain shower activity right now. So down in here is where that gauge is located. We're seeing some very high water. There's also some reported records near the Bryan Creek. In fact, they may have way broken the record there. And that's why we're seeing road closures and all the problems that we're having in our southeastern counties. Want to show you some rain that's moving through the radar. However, not great news. We have another round of shower activity. It's not too heavy, but it is going to move back through northern Arkansas. Harrison, you're about to get wet again. Rain and thunderstorm activity is going to be kind of hit or miss across the eastern portion of the Ozarks today. We have this more moderate line of rain showers stretching all the way from Cave City back up through Evening Shade, Cherokee Village, and eventually making it into Thayer. As we head into Shannon County, we start to see some of the heavier rain shower activity. Then it's a little bit spotty as you head back into portions of Douglas County. Heavy rain falling all the way from the northern portion of Shannon County, eastern Texas County, back up through Oregon County, and then eventually crossing I-44 as you're heading towards St. Louis. We have flash flood warnings all over the place. An amazing rainfall event across the last 2 days in the Ozarks. We've had reported rainfall, widespread amounts between 6 and 12 inches of rainfall, and yes, I know some of you have had even more than that. We've had rainfall reports in the teens across the Ozarks from a lot of different places. These are just the radar estimated amounts, but you can see all these heavy bands. Look how widespread they are. I mean, these are counties wide, and this is why we're having such the big issue. Heavy rains falling all the way from portions of Dent County back through Texas County, Douglas County, and then all the way into northern Arkansas. Portions of Carroll County seeing some problems too. We had some heavy rain on this band near Wright County, back through the southeastern portion of Greene County, and then really picking up as we moved over Table Rock Lake and Beaver Lake. That causes some problems on our area waterways. That's why we're seeing some of the rapid increases. Beaver Lake is now full, releasing water into Table Rock. That's going to go up, and eventually we're going to release some of that into Taneycomo. Flooding expected there, and hopefully some of all of this is going to end up in Bull Shoals that still has some room. Here's a look at the picture in Springfield right now. We are seeing a windy sky. Temperatures are going to be back into the 60s, mid-60s to start you off. Low 60s for the afternoon, so kind of falling through the day. Not a great day to be outdoors. We're going to have high water, low clouds, and spitting rain showers during the afternoon. Here's a look at those flash flood warnings. They're all highlighted here in this red shaded area. Those are going to go until this afternoon. I urge you to just stay home if you can today. Here's a look at the futurecast. Rain showers, at least the heavy ones, are going to move out. We may get another little spot shower. That's the band that's now moving into northern Arkansas. It'll be up in our northeastern counties at the lunch hour. We should have some dry time in the forecast today. I do think that there's going to be the chance that we start to see some spotty shower activity show back up on the radar later this evening and overnight tonight. And we'll see the cooler temperatures build in as we get closer to Monday. I mentioned rising waters still a big concern for us here in the Ozarks. Just expect road closures, detours, delays. There's going to be a lot of damage that we just don't even know about yet. Maybe erosion that we don't know about yet because everything is covered in water at this point and we just can't even see what's down there. You need to stay informed. There could be some structural damage too, so be careful if you're heading out today. Temperatures will be falling back into the lower 60s this afternoon. If you'd like to share with me your rainfall reports, I'm compiling a list so we can keep that here in the office and keep track of this historic event. So you can send that to me on Facebook, Abby Dyer KYTV, or tweet me or email me adyer@ky3.com. I'm making a big list. A lot of you have sent me some reports, so thank you very much for that. The reports are pretty incredible across the Ozarks. Today, temperatures in the mid-60s. That's going to be our official highs, but we'll spend most of the day in the low 60s. Tonight's going to be cold, back to 40 degrees for the overnight low temperatures. 7-day forecast has a lot of dry time in it. We need the dry time desperately at this point, Sarah. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. We are going to be dry starting tomorrow, lasting through most of the work week and into next weekend. The only exception there will be Wednesday.
All right, come on Monday and Tuesday. Thank you, Abby. All right, stay with us. We're back from the Branson area after this. All right, welcome back. We are looking at the Missouri Department of Transportation road closings map. I've zoomed it way out, so you can't see all the buoys, which there are an impressive number on there. But this is a look at some of the major roads. Right now, it is not showing that I-44 is closed at all. However, we know in the past, with some major flooding, even I-44 has closed. Now, Pulaski County Emergency Management sent out an announcement this morning that says I-44 is set to close in both directions at Jerome and Hazel Green. However, we are working to confirm that right now, trying to get MoDOT on the horn. But again, they are very good to update their road closing map. And right now, it looks like I-44 is still open. This one little place that looks like it's right on I-44 is actually Missouri 125. It is closed in both directions in Greene County. But again, I-44, we're hearing from Pulaski County Emergency Management, is set to close in both directions at Jerome and Hazel Green. So stay tuned to ky3.com or KY3 Facebook page. We will keep you posted on that. All right, now another area that we were talking about earlier was down in the West Plains area. Dangerous situation right there. And we got this picture from the Ozark County Times. This is the bridge, Hammond Bridge in Howell County. You can see washed away. Again, this picture from the Ozark County Times. All right, so we're going to go back to the MoDOT map and show you that. We now have on the phone with us the Missouri Highway Patrol. If you can hear me, tell us what you know about I-44.
Yes, Interstate 44 is getting ready to be compromised with water crossing over the interstate. So westbound traffic is going to be affected in Pulaski County. Westbound traffic will be diverted at the 145 exit. They will get off there on Highway 133, take Highway 133 to Highway 7, and then to Highway 5, where they will get back on the interstate at the 127 exit.
Okay.
The long range, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, so that detour will be marked then, I assume.
Yeah, so it'll be marked. MoDOT will have the signs and everything up, the detour signs and everything, so you should be in good shape there. The long-range plan is probably around 9 or 9:30. Eastbound traffic on Interstate 44 is going to be diverted in Rolla onto U.S. Highway 63. They will take U.S. Highway 63 south through Rolla down to Highway 60. And they'll take 60 west back over to 65 and then back up to 44.
Oh, man. So
the,
you are in the thick of it, I guess. Are you still getting rain, Sergeant Fulkerson?
Yes, ma'am. It's still coming down hard here in Rolla right now. The eastbound traffic will also be affected later on today, and they will be diverted to that same route coming back the opposite way. They're at 65. You'll take 65 down to 60, over to 63, and then back up north to Rolla, and then back on 44. So it is a long reroute, but that's really the only options that we have available.
Okay, yeah, I get it, man. It's insane, the amount of flooding, unprecedented for us. Thank you, Sergeant Fulkerson with the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Be careful out there. Thanks for the update on the information, and we will make sure to update you guys on our Facebook page, also the ky3.com website, so check that out before you're headed out. But again, I-44, if you're going anywhere, you will be rerouted, and as you heard the sergeant say, it is a long reroute, but at this point, no other option. All right, stay tuned. We'll have one last check of your forecast when we come back. All right, before we go, we just heard from Sergeant Fulkerson with the Missouri State Highway Patrol talking about the closure on I-44, basically near Jerome, Hazel Green area. So that's massive. That's a major thoroughfare. Lots of impact there. And yeah, 2 deaths, one in Pulaski County, one in Clever.
Still high water. It's still going to be coming up in a lot of places. Records set at area rivers. We had rainfall records set this weekend, and the rain is not over, as you can see here on the radar picture. This is a 1-hour loop that I'm showing you, and it's all moving off to the northeast, but we're getting another band kind of developing all the way from Harrison back up through about Mount Vernon. That's going to move through Springfield. It's not going to be too heavy, so I don't think we're going to add much to the rain gauge, but it's not going to help matters. We don't need one more drop of rain at this point, and we are looking at showers continuing through probably midday or so. It's not going to be a very nice day to be outdoors. Some of the heaviest showers at this point are south of I-44 up in Oregon County, northern Shannon County, much of Texas County seeing some rainfall at this point. And then the showers back off as you move into our northwestern counties. Look at this map, though, Sarah. It's incredible. I mean, we're talking in the highest totals there, the pinks, the reds, the purples, maybe close to 10 to 15 inches of rain.
Wow. Just
in the last 48 hours. So unbelievable rainfall amounts. We're still going to be talking about high water here for the next several days. It's going to be soggy. We're going to see the mold levels